And now, from beyond our dimension, this is the JeffMara podcast. Here's Jeff.
My guest is Linda G. from the Linda G. Comanche Psychic YouTube channel. She is a UFO experiencer, author, who at birth was taken to her mother's Comanche tribe where the elders recognized that she possessed the third eye. Today, she is a recognized psychic medium known for her ability to connect with spirit and deliver messages from the other side. Linda, it's great to finally have you on my channel.
Thank
Welcome.
you, Jeff. I really appreciate you having me here.
So how did you get involved with UFOs, or how did you see your first one?
Oh, listen. Yeah, that's an interesting story. So I would go to Sedona with my girlfriend, Tana. We would do little events. At that time, I wasn't well known, and we were lucky to get 10 people to come with us. And now I just posted an event in Laguna Hills. I sold out in like 2 days.
Wow, it's amazing.
And then I'm also doing an event in Benicia in November. But so Tana and I, she said, you really got to come see UFOs. And I was like, yeah, okay. So there was a woman there. She's written several books. Honest to God, I can't think of her name. But she brought those professional, the ones you look through that can see.
Oh, like what are they? Night vision?
Not regular night vision.
Oh.
Military grade night vision.
Wow.
You can buy used ones on eBay for like $3,000.
My gosh.
Yeah. So she had a bunch of those. And then she had these little lights. And she was very careful about what's a plane and what's a UFO. So we're looking, and oh my God, we saw a total of 54 UFOs. And I mean, 2 objects going up side by side and then both directions. So that wasn't an airplane or satellite. Sometimes if we talked to them and we said, hello, hello, and you put the green light, they would expand, like turn into a bright light and then go back down. And so I was thrilled. And then that's where my fascination started.
How do you think they can hear you guys talking?
Because it's all mental. It's not with the voice, really. It's, they don't speak. They talk to you mentally.
It's just
somehow they knew, because I've gone outside in my own backyard now, and I've asked them for help with this universe, as crazy as it is. And they are very kind, and lots of times they'll give me really calming messages that, this too shall pass, and that part of the reason all this is happening is because we're going to make a better universe. But I had an actual UFO or alien. I saw him in my mind's eye. I didn't see him in person. And he looked like the guy that's the one that's in the pictures of those books. So I might have made that up in my head. But he told me about their purpose, that they aren't here to scare anyone, that they don't interfere with man's free will. But if we play with nukes, they're in it. And they have permission to do so, according to him.
Now, do you hear them because you're clairaudient, or is it like a download?
There's a lot of people that are UFO people that I notice that they get messages where they hear it. I don't know if they're necessarily psychics. I don't know. I resisted, but now I know. And like I was telling you, one day up at one of my events in Sedona, there's a Dr. Greer that does a C5. But he does this language and this stuff, and I thought, I'll never have time for that. Let me take my 60 people that were at this event out in a nice dark spot and let's call for them. I just said, let's just try that out. So, and I even told everybody, I don't know if this is going to work. And we didn't have the military goggles. And we started calling out mentally for these energy forms. And my friends took a picture of a tree, no lights around it, just a tree. Then all of a sudden you saw this orange glow, like you would think the tree caught on fire. And inside that orange glow was the outline of some sort of creature, like a small, large-headed energy there. It's as clear as day. It's on there. It's in my book. And this picture was from Bryce Canyon. Now, Bryce Canyon, we were out there, middle of the night, black, pitch black. I don't even think we're supposed to be up there. It was a bunch of teachers, and my friend was having an event up there. And this is from my girlfriend, Mary. And everybody took pictures. I have tons of pictures. And those lights were like a ship was going to come up. It was like you couldn't see them with your eyes. You just keep taking pictures with your phones. Because even when they were taking pictures, there were ships. You could see outline ships, but you couldn't see them with your eyes. It's really interesting how it works. They can show themselves to you, but sometimes they are cloaked when they do it. And then he kept taking a picture of that tree, and then, it was there and gone, disappeared.
Have they ever revealed to you messages for humanity?
Yeah, the one that talked to me that said we can't interfere with free will, but we can interfere with nuclear. There's a guy I know who knows about Chernobyl, and it was the second, not the first one, the second one blew up. And in the newspaper in the Ukraine, there was a picture of an actual ship over that place. And I found out later it was true because I couldn't find any facts on that. But it was sucking up the radiation. And it was said that if they hadn't done that, it would have been a lot worse than it already was. So they'll come around. Putin right now has just said he may have to use nuclear on Zelensky because, they're losing this battle. I'm going to tell you right now, I almost am peaceful about it because I know they won't allow it. They don't tell you about this, but there's many times I may have even started that they shut it off. And they know that the realm is watching them, but they can't do nukes. Right now, there are no nukes. I can just tell you psychically and through the ETs, they won't allow it.
I wonder why they don't tell all these other countries that want nukes, look,
how do we know they
ETs
haven't?
aren't going to let you even fire a nuke, so there's no point in trying to acquire one.
How do we know they haven't?
That's a good point.
But they probably have. I know Putin knows. And I know we, even here in America, we shot down certain ships and we've taken in
They now call them
terrestrials, extraterrestrials, and probed them and did all kinds of terrible things. But they forgive us. They just keep going. And in Vietnam, there's a very good story. If you guys Google it, there was some sort of a boat that was shooting at UFOs. The lieutenant, or he said, shoot them. There was like 3 of them. And they had their gun on the ship and they were shooting. And these UFOs sucked in all the bullets and then they shot them back, their own bullets. And another ship got blown up out in the ocean. And when the United States Navy came and got all the pieces, the missiles that shot them were United States missiles.
Wow.
So yeah, they will protect themselves if they need to. But the thing is, okay, the reason they won't allow nuclear war, maybe they know eventually we'll have it, but it wrecks them too because Mother Nature is readjusting right now. She's not mad, she's just readjusting. And all these things that are happening isn't the end of the world. It's a readjusting vibrationally and everything. So what they're doing is they have to protect this earth because it'll catapult and hurt all of them too. So they don't want us blowing ourselves up.
Some people out there may say, well, why did they let us bomb Japan in World War II?
Remember, they didn't even start really coming in until Hiroshima. They didn't really start coming in. That's when the people saw them. I know in Egypt they saw them and stuff, but they didn't really come in and interfere. Because now, if you look at, you see these, if you Google it, military testimony about UFOs shutting down a nuclear site, even in the UK. They will do it. They can shut down. There was one guy who said they had 5 silos, 5 missiles ready to go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Boom, all shut down. And the ship was right above them. And they were thinking, oh my God, we're about ready to die, you know. But they just went there just to let them know, yeah, we're in control of this.
Do you remember the New Jersey drones last December?
Yes.
What do you think that was?
That was drones, but that was ETs too. But that was drones, and some of that was China and Russia. But it was weird, huh? A whole bunch of them came in.
Right. And I don't know if they put up our own drones as a response to that or what.
Well, also, didn't we get a batch of something nuclear that got stolen?
I don't know about
Sounds
that.
like they were looking for it.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe
I need to do it in depth on that and see what I get. Boy, that was going crazy. That was amazing.
Yeah. Well, when you do these events, are you going out and looking at UFOs, or are you doing other stuff too?
Oh, yeah. Now, the Laguna Hills event, that's during the day. That's more personal readings for people. I don't do paid readings anymore. I give away free readings on my show. Once a month, I have a live, and we pick 2 winners. But I got burnt out on readings. But when I have these events, like even in Sedona, we just go outside in the pitch black and call for the realm. In Benicia, we probably do it too, because it gets plenty dark there too.
What caused you to get burned out of doing readings?
Too much.
In what way?
Well, I can't just shut on and stay on all the time. I was only doing 2 readings 4 days a week in the morning. And there's so many wonderful. It just gives you such a shot in the arm about mankind. But I'll be 72 in September, and I've been reading since the 1980s. I was a nurse and got myself through nursing school doing readings. And you just get to where you're just tired. And I got tired. I got where it wasn't bringing me as much joy anymore. I was like, oh, it's like going to your job. Sometimes you're just tired. Can't say I didn't enjoy it. And I do give away for it. Doesn't mean I stop reading. Like at these events, I'm going to read. But I do it more of a group. I get a lot of people done in a short amount of time.
How does it work for you? Like, how do you do it?
They'll talk to me.
So you're clairaudient?
Sometimes I see, yeah. And I also see, I can visualize. I can describe a person coming towards me. And, you know, even like one time I was reading this woman, I'm reading her, and on my dressers across the room, I hear my phone start to talk. And she hears it too. I said, who is that? It's like a man. I get up, I go to my phone, and on my phone, it said, in our realm, anything is possible. On my phone. Wow. I took a picture of it. It's in my book.
Now, are you
sure to give me your address? I'll send you a copy of my book.
Oh, great. Thank you. Are you also able to read or tap into future events? Like, for example,
God, yeah.
So,
like I saw the COVID before it came. I saw it a year before. I was doing readings. I was working at Angel Heart, and I was videoing myself, and I'm talking away, and then they said, there's going to be a real nasty virus. Everybody will be wearing a mask. And I said that. I almost acted irritated, like, oh, I just interrupted. Hold on. They want me to tell everybody that there's going to be and this is on video. This was like July of the year before. And I said, they want me to tell y'all that there's going to be a real nasty virus, and everybody will be wearing a mask. And didn't think twice about it. And then when this thing happened, people were writing, oh my God, Linda, you predicted this. I don't remember what I say sometimes. Like someone said, you did a reading on the royal family like a year or so ago. And, it was my friend who's the astrologer. You did a reading on the royal family, and every single thing you said in that short period, all of it came true. That's when I started watching you, because I said, "Oh, she's the real deal." But I can tell you, sometimes I get it so dead on, and you just get this feeling of this is this is true. If I have to struggle too much, if somebody asks me something, that's when it can kind of change. But mostly, I'll get a hit and know it's true.
This year has already been pretty rocky, and we're only
Yeah, and
halfway
I
through it.
predicted that.
What are you seeing coming for the rest of the year?
Well, I kept seeing volcanoes, and I kept seeing floods, and I kept emphasizing. And there's more than just me. There's other psychics that felt, but all I could see was water. That's all I could see. So it could even be interpreted as this pretty nasty hurricane season, or it could just be this Armageddon rain that's not only happening in Texas, happening in Europe. There's all kinds of places in Europe and Poland and China and all kinds of places that are getting flooded out. And sudden, like 1 minute you're okay, the next minute you're going down the river.
Yeah. Do you think that's due to global warming or
Oh,
clouds?
yes. And the fires too. The fires. There'll be more fires, but I'm not feeling as Armageddon with California as I am more in other countries.
What
I know
about,
Greece has had a lot of them.
what do you think is going to happen with the situation with Iran and Israel?
I don't feel good about Israel. I think Israel's in for some trouble. I do see Netanyahu with some, like a bag or a cloth over his face. I don't know if he's kidnapped or what. But even the people in Israel are a little tired because they just killed 15. 9 of them were children standing in line for some help. That's not protecting yourself. That's awful. And a lot of the people in Israel don't like that either. So many people want him gone, and he's going to be gone. I didn't realize what a hold he had on to other nations. How Israel, we're giving them thousands of dollars for their bombs and stuff. It's like, why are we paying them to kill innocent people? But this will change. And apparently he knew about what was going to happen in October. So, but wanted it to happen so they could just wipe out. They'd love to wipe out Iran too, but Iran is going to fight back. I see Iran undercover, and I see, be careful with Iran. There's going to be some major going on. You'll think of me when it happens too. You'll say, "Oh my God, she knew that." They're going to do some stuff. Now, I hate innocent blood for innocent blood, and I do feel they'll hurt innocent blood, but Israel will Putin is about ready to go down too. Now, I don't see him in a life force. I see him being gone. I'm not quite sure when it can happen, but I can taste it and smell it. And a lot of other psychics feel the same way. Sterling, one of my buddies, and Mel, all of us, we've been feeling Putin running for his life. And then I also see Netanyahu being taken out. And I also see Trump not lasting very long. Now, I don't know if he's going to die, but I see, I don't know what this is, but there's probably more scandal coming out. Not like there isn't enough scandal.
Do you know anything about the Epstein case? Because that's been blowing up lately.
Definitely. And listen, I read a lot of people and people that have worked with this organization. I had a friend named Joe back when I first started my YouTube channel, and he told me anybody in New York will tell you that he's nothing but a scoundrel. He's a fraud. And the lady who sewed the costumes for the Miss Teenage America, she was there and witnessed Trump running to all the dressing rooms to try to catch these young girls unclothed, and thought it was funny. I know as a young girl, I barely could dress in a gym, but I would be so humiliated if some grown man was in there gawking at me.
In the beginning, I talked about, or I mentioned that at birth, you were taken to your mother's Comanche tribe where they recognized you had a third eye.
It was what do you call them? It was the witch doctor or it
Shaman,
was
maybe?
the shaman. And he said, she has a third eye. And what's interesting is he did the sign of the cross over my third eye, which as a native, I can tell you, they wouldn't have done the sign of the cross because that's Catholicism. That's not something the natives were necessarily happy with. I mean, all my cousins, they can be very Catholic, they love the Bible and stuff, but that's from man, that's man-made. So it's interesting that he did the sign of the cross, but he said it was a sign to protect me.
Would you say then that you've been psychic your entire life?
I have, but it really kicked in. I'll tell you this short story. It's in my book too. I was going through a very major life and death situation. And I had double mastectomy and I had no hair. And I was walking my dog on a path up in the Marin Headlands. And I walked this every day. And I was so worried because my boys were young. And their dad was not very good at taking care of himself. And I knew he wouldn't be able to take care of these kids. And I'm begging for my life because I said, please don't let me die. I really want to stay for my babies. And a man said, now I was a nurse, by the way, for 20 years in a facility, a county facility where, trauma teams, I worked L&D too, and women would come in off the streets with no prenatal, nothing, and deliver these babies. I worked in the war zone and I loved every minute of it. But I saw a lot of death and I saw energy leaving the bodies. So I had the gift, yes, because I told you I read for people while I was in nursing school to help cover my expenses. So then I stopped when I started working as a nurse. So then as I said, please don't let me die. This man who talks in my right ear, he still talks in my right ear, said to me, what are you doing? You know there's no such thing as death. And in that moment, I got really embarrassed. Like, oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed. Please forgive me. I'm so embarrassed I even asked you that. Because you're right, there's no such thing as death. And in that moment, I gave myself to something outside myself. I basically said, into thy hands I commence my spirit. And all these thoughts were going through my head. I said, because I know it's going to work out, because I know you're with me and I know my journey. If this was part of my journey, I accept it. Accepting is very hard sometimes, but I accept it. And in that moment, I thought King Kong was coming through the trees. There was no wind and there was no road. There was a path, and sometimes the rangers would come through. I thought perhaps rangers were coming down this path. It was rumbling. And my dog even sat still, which he never would do. It's like, come on, let's go, let's go. He sat, and I was trying to push him to the side because I didn't know the rangers needed to pass. And the top of the trees were doing this. And then, boom. And Bloodshoe, whoever that guy is that does UFOs. Is his name Chris Bloodshoe?
Chris Bledsoe?
Bledsoe.
Yes.
He talked about this. He's the only other person I heard say this. That's why I'd love to contact him and ask him about it. All of a sudden, a wind went through me. He had the same thing happen. And it was more than a wind. It almost pushed me back. And I heard the words, thy will be done. Boom, right through me. And then I was high as a kite. Like, I thought if I touched a socket, I would blow it out. I couldn't eat for 2 days, which tells you right there, because if I can't eat, I'm at death's door. And I couldn't sleep, and I was buzzing. I didn't know how to describe it to anybody. And that's when my abilities got even better, because that's when it expanded. That's when I could really step outside myself and allow them to tell me what's going on. You know, when I was 8 years old, my parents were atheists. I was 8 years old and I had a total, you could call it an NDE, where I flew out of my body and I was in heaven. I'm going to tell you that right now. I've seen it more than once. And I walked down this grassy hill, and it was technicolor. I could feel the wind on my face. I felt a peace like I've never felt, only 8 years old. And these two women were telling me to kneel next to this open Bible with this cross. There was no words on the Bible, and I don't think I would have known what the words were because I never saw a Bible. And I got on my knees and I looked up, and there was Jesus of Nazareth in full glory. It was so profound, it scared the bejesus out of me. It was too much for a young girl who really didn't know anything about him. But to be honest with you, I didn't know that that was Jesus. And I looked down and something told me, Linda, you better look up. He's got something to say. So I looked up again and he smiled at me and he said, my child. And then I looked down again and I was back in my body, but I was cold as ice. Like I just got pulled out of a refrigerator.
What caused you to leave your body in the first place?
I don't know. Was it an NDE? Did my heart go real slow for a minute? But I was supposed to take that journey. And then the next day I told my mom, Mom, I had the weirdest experience. Now remember, my mom is anti-Catholic, but she said, that sounds like Jesus of Nazareth.
Was your mom also psychic?
Yes. And my grandmother too, the one that died when she was only 37, giving birth to her last child. She could speak Comanche, Spanish, and English. And my mom never got over her death. But yeah, she was psychic. My mom, one time she saw a woman in a red robe floating out of my brother's room and going into me and my sister's room. And she got up. She was scared to death. My mom was a big chicken. And she grabbed the 38 next door and went into the room. And there was nothing there. And when mom died, I took care of my mother till she died. I would run in the house and grab what my dad needed. He was at the VA hospital, and get out of there because I could feel this negative energy. So while dad was in the hospital, I had some ghost hunting friends. And I said, let's go to the house. I want to see what the hell's in there that's causing all this angst. And they did a table in the garage. They set up walkie-talkies. They set up cameras. And so the guy inside the house sitting in my dad's chair, we could see him on camera. And my friend said, okay, you ready to go? And he said, yeah, I sure am. And then boom, help me, help me, help me. It was a lady's voice. She said it 3 times. And we were all like, holy cow. So the guy got up and ran out to the kitchen door where the garage is. He opened it up. He said, did you guys hear that? And we were all like, yeah, we got it on tape. And then he no sooner said that, and the wall next to him that goes from the kitchen to the garage, boom, 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 and no light boom. It was like everything was shaking. It was so loud. Scared, we packed our stuff and we're getting out of here. Shoot. That was the scary. But do you know when my dad died, everything stopped? That's so weird.
After interviewing many near-death experiencers, a lot of times when they're on death's doorstep and they finally surrender to death is when they have their experience. And it's kind of sounds the same thing to you, that you surrendered to this voice.
I surrendered. I knew, and that's what helps me even today. When you get anxious about what's going on, you have to breathe. You have to say, just refuse to go there, because this too shall pass. I mean, really, I love Eckhart Tolle. And when he talks about the nothingness, being in the Tao, that's the only way you can survive all this. It's just being quiet and attuned and allow what's supposed to happen. And let me tell you, the more disconnected you get with this man-made stuff, this emotions and stuff, the more magic that happens, because that which is like unto itself is drawn. You cannot create what you're not. Like, if you always worried about money, which I always did, guess what? More of the same happens because you can't seem to get out of that poverty thing. When you release it and allow, that's when the magic starts happening. And they even said, because I'm not a Bible person, but there's something in the Bible that Jesus said, the ones that have will have more, and the ones that have not will lose more. And it doesn't seem fair, but if you think of it in a vibrational, if you think in terms of, like I tell people, try your best just to know that you have goods coming. Things are going to be okay. And the more you can convince yourself of that, vibrationally, you can attract it. You can't attract that which you're not vibrationally attuned to.
So do you need to do an affirmation as well, or just kind of believe that you're going to have money? If we were talking about money, for example, you just believe that money's going to come and don't concern yourself with it.
And tell them thank you before it even gets there.
Do you have to put a limit, though? I mean, you can't just go on a shopping spree, can you?
No. Well, I mean, you just know that this, because when I had no money, I was famous for shopping sprees I couldn't afford. You just have to know. And then, listen, they've given me more than enough, and enough to be able to pass on to others. Because when you pass on to others, you don't do it because you want to be acknowledged for it. You have to do it for the well-being of others. And it just keeps giving and giving.
What are
it's really beautiful.
What are some of the misconceptions that people have about psychics?
Well, I noticed some people would think that they're frauds, and if you charge money, like all psychics shouldn't charge money. Well, you know what? The butcher charges for the pork chop. I guess they think I try to keep my prices pretty low. I don't, I think I was doing $200 for 45 minutes. I was doing $100 for 30 minutes. When I worked at Angel Heart for You, when I went in there, we were doing $30 for a reading. And what happened is people will suck you up and spit you out. I got dry. I got so many people because it was cheap. Oh, look. And she's good too. She's cheap. So what happens is you have to take care of yourself. And sometimes the money is to make sure only the serious people are there. If I got people saying, listen, I don't have a dime, but my sister's dying or something, I would read them for free off the record. Just don't tell people. But, and there's a lot of free work I do too, but it was never really about making money. It did help me through nursing school, but that's before my awakening. Now that I'm woke, it's more about that connection, especially to help people talk to their loved ones on the other side. My very first huge, profound mediumship, well, woman, which is also in my book, a medium incident was a woman was sitting across from me, and all of a sudden this big, tall guy comes through the wall, and he had a big beard and long hair, and I saw he was wearing motorcycle boots. And I said, there's a man here, and he's tall, and he's got this. And she started wailing, that's my son, that's my son. And he proceeds to tell me how he died. He went up, 18-wheeler, he got his bike down, but he still got hit. And he even told me about how he had been dead and back in his body dead, so they tried to revive him. He even told me about going in the hospital and hearing the screaming with his family. He had a girlfriend, they had 2 children, and he really regretted not marrying her. Now that he's on the other side, gee, I wished I would have married her. So the mom is just hysterical. And he said to me, he looked at me with those big blue eyes, and he said, Linda, would you tell my mother I'm more alive now than when I had a body? and she needs to get over herself because this isn't about me. And, those kind of tidbits, those jewels they give me, it makes you realize and they have a whole new when you go across to the other side, you got a whole, and you're not necessarily going to be with the same family or lovers or anything. It's funny because we think we know who we are. Wait till you get there. That is just torn apart. But there's a lot of unhappiness too, because there's some people like mothers. Some people think I'm a mother and that's my identity and that's who I am. So it's up to me to tell my children what's best for them. And if you're constantly interfering with your child's life, that works against you. The worst thing you can do as a human being on earth is affect somebody else's free will. Kahil Gibran said that the child is a bow and the parent is the arrow. The stronger the bow, the further the arrow flies. So to make your children grow and be whole and do their thing, you allow them. You just send it off. You send them off with your own strength, and they'll probably make mistakes, but you want them to be able to trust to be able to come to you if they need you.
So far, it sounds like that the rest of the year may be pretty rocky.
It's going to be rocky.
Do you
ecologically?
That is environmentally or ecologically is where you're saying that.
It's just a lot of unusual things happening with the weather that we've never seen before. And to look at how people are acting, and when the current president got in, I never saw him getting in. That was very huge for me because I predicted when he didn't win the last time. So I looked and I said to the guides, what are you doing? I told everybody she was going to win. She actually did win, but that's another story. And they said, Linda, man has free will. And there's a reason why he's in there now. It's so the people that adore him and lift him can see who he really is. That's what they said. So I said, okay, fine, fair enough. And it's awful what's going on right now and some of the heartache that's caused right now. But it's not going to last 4 years. I can tell you that much.
That voice that you heard that told you,
man,
yeah, who is that voice? Is that a guide?
People tell me they can see guides. They have names for their guides. I don't get that. What I see, do you remember that movie Cocoon?
Vaguely.
Where the things were in the eggs and they're nothing but light beams.
Yes.
That's what I see is pure light. But this man that speaks to me it's definitely a male voice. And he doesn't cuddle me or treat me like, oh, honey, don't worry. No, he gets down to brass tacks. Like my daughter got sick with the virus that was going around. And her doctor had told her if she ever got that, because she has lung disease, it may take her to the other side. I was so panicked and I started praying for her and, oh, please God, take care of my girl. And he said to me very sternly, excuse me, practice what you preach. What? Practice what you preach. You tell others to allow. You allow and know all of this is for a reason. And so, he didn't coddle me or say, oh, honey, don't worry. Things are going to be okay. And not only is she doing good, she's doing even better.
Is she also psychic?
Yes. She's not somebody that likes to play with it, though.
Your book is called Unveiling the Extraordinary. What is the main takeaway that someone should get from reading it?
There's no such thing as death. Don't be fearing death, because in that fear, it can tie you up where you could be alive. You be with the living and be calm and live. And try to live as best as you can in grace for what you do have. You'd be surprised. Sometimes just being grateful for what you already have brings in more gifts. Because so many people, I need this, I want this. Linda, when is this going to happen? When am I going to get? No, just breathe and allow and know they've heard you. Years ago, before all this happened to me, when I would do readings, I used to call God the main computer. And if you input a wish, it can't answer it if you keep changing the wish. No, but we got to have this and we got to have that. It was too confusing for the God force. And now I realize what I was saying is that you can ask from the core of that question of who you are, what really will fulfill you. You know, like I have somebody right now hates their job. And then the job is moving to another state, and they offered this person to go to the other state. And the person wrote me and said, "What do you think?" I said, "What are you kidding? The universe is giving your wish. Hell to the no. No, I'm not going to go to this other state when I was raised in California." And the universe answered what you said. Because a lot of people will say, "Oh my God, I lost my job." But sometimes it's because it was time for you to move on. Everything in my life, as terrible as some of it was, because I had a pretty angry father, Irish, English, Dutch, and he could be violent. We were just little kids, but he was also loving. It's really a weird dichotomy. But anyway, the father I chose in this life, the lessons I've learned, who I am today, I wouldn't trade it for nothing. I am so comfortable in my own self that I can't explain it to. I enjoy it. The only thing that's hard is that people tend to idolize you, like, oh, you're this, you're that. But it's not really me. It's the information. That's what you go into. Anything I can do to help people, take that tool and move on. But it's not, like Eckhart Tolle, everybody loves him, but he's just identifying and giving you the message from the Tao. He's just telling you. And he lives it, but some people have a hard time living that.
Do you know what happens after we die? Like, do we all reincarnate? Do we go to other realms? Do we have soul
Yes,
contracts?
we all have that choice because it's still free will over there. I remember being so upset because when I was dabbling a little ghost hunting, I couldn't understand what kind of God would allow children to roam the earth in a ghost form. What was that about? What are you doing? And a Dr. Levine or somebody wrote a book and he said it's about free will. So a lot of times it's because the parents were so upset about the child's death that the child wouldn't leave because they were stuck, because the parents were mourning them so bad. And then the parents die and they're still stuck. So we have options to take other bodies, to even walk-ins. I believe Lincoln was a walk-in. We can even venture to other planets. We've had planetary experiences on other planes. And we work ourselves towards the main component, which is not a man sitting on a throne, but it's that God energy. And let me tell you, the higher you get vibrationally, the more you can manifest beautifully, as long as it's for good. You can't manifest ugly. You can try, but it'll turn around and get you real good. And be careful about judging others. We all tend, America especially, we love to say, "Oh, look at her. She looked like a street walking." I remember when we were young, we were talking about how skinny Cher is, me, my mom, and my sister. And my dad was sitting there. He says, "Yeah, she worries about what you guys think, but she goes to the bank on Tuesdays." So be careful about judging others. Try to cut that out, because my mom was a judger. She always sized people up. And that's not good either. We have to be careful with that.
What other ways do you think or do you recommend to raise our vibration?
Just to get out of your head as much as you can. Breathe, be quiet, listen to your breathing. I always tell people 3 deep breaths. Eckhart Tolle talks about this. If you breathe 3 deep breaths a day, you don't have to go or be in a meditative state. If you breathe 3 deep breaths a day, he promises you within 3 months' time, you'll be vibrationally higher. And I practice what he said, and it's absolutely true. So just breathing in 3 times. And I don't know why that works, but somebody told me is as you breathe in, you're in unconsciousness. Well, actually, you're in consciousness. You're in the highest collective consciousness. And every time you tap into that, you get higher towards it. So you can walk around. It's hard to do because there's so many interruptions. You can walk around on this earth plane and being in a conscious manner to where, and trying not to be reactive. That's one thing about me. I was knee jerk, very reactive. And we're still human. We're still going to have our sometimes up and bad days, but this is the first time in my life. And like I said, I'll be 72. I wish I'd known this before. I had inklings of it, but I never knew it like this, to where I can tell you I'm totally content, totally happy. I just wish I could heal the world a little more, but collectively we can do it.
Do you think you can move up from there? Like move from content to being joyful or even exhilaration?
Oh, I've done that. Remember when I was vibrating and I couldn't stop it? That was manna from heaven. That vibration, you know what? You know how they say man can't see God? Well, it's not a man on a throne, but if you were in that realm, you would implode, because you have to build it up to be able to get there. And the only way to get there is by, taking care of yourself. Some of the masters, I have that series, Life and Teachings of Masters of the Far East. They can levitate. They can go in and out in different realms because they worked at it all the time. I got things to do, like, eat and watch TV.
What kind of content do you post on your YouTube channel?
Mostly about current events. Even looking at Putin, I've been telling everybody for a while, I saw his demise. I've been telling everybody a lot of my stuff that I've prophesied that's come true, especially with this water situation. By the way, this will resolve, but we do have a couple of years of some pretty terrible water. I don't see Armageddon, but I would tell you if I saw like end of times, I would tell you. But I see once this energy that's in the White House right now is removed, and it'll be because his own people decide, you need to go. That's when the healing begins. That's when we, because so many countries right now, I got people going like even to the UK that they're like with their nose up in the air because they don't like Americans.
So
it's really sad.
So you're not seeing World War III?
No, I do not see World War III. There are little wars going on. And by the way, I see Ukraine winning. I've been saying that for 2 years now.
Interesting.
And right now, they got all kinds of drones over Moscow as we speak. The interesting thing is, God bless that Zelensky, they're not hitting, civilians. They're hitting specific arenas that they use for the war, whereas Russia has no problem killing civilians.
What about China? Do you ever see them taking Taiwan?
China can be pretty ugly, Trump just said that China cannot take Taiwan or we will hit them hard, and they've just laughed at him. China, my son is kind of a person, a connoisseur of information in other countries. China's actually going through a real bad time. They just don't let you know it. Russia's going through a real bad time. And, they're not building their, America's building their population. Especially Japan is like minus zero something. And China, who doesn't allow people to come in, is having a hard time. They killed all those baby girls. And they're just not able, people aren't having children, and they're just not able to, I don't know where they get their money from. They pay out a lot of money for a lot of things, but they're laughing at Donald. They're laughing at him. But I don't see China taking over the world.
Do you ever see anything for Elon Musk or AI?
Elon Musk is going to move to a different country. I see the president being so angry at him because there's more stuff he's going to release. There's maybe even with the Epstein thing. But I see him being so mad that, he knows he's got stuff on him, but he may cut down some of his contracts that he has because, he's what do they call a welfare recipient? He lives off our country. He's going to do something. Tesla's already suffering, but I see him going to a different country and actually working on behalf of space. That's even better for us. So, but I don't know why he decided to do what he did and cutting all that money from good places that we needed. But he's not right, nor is the other one. They're like two little children.
I wonder if he'll ever get us to Mars. Have you seen that?
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, he may go to Mars, but we'll never live on Mars while he's alive.
Well, after watching this podcast, people might want to, look into or check out what you got going on. So what's your website?
It's www.lindagrindle.com.
All right. Do you have anything else that you're working on that you want people to know about?
Well, I'm working on another event. The one in Laguna Hills got sold out. I'm working on another event in Benicia where you can come to Benicia and we'll have readings. Mel Dorr, a good friend of mine, he's in Chicago. He'll read half the people. I'll read half and then we switch off. We have Annette Bricka, excellent medium. She'll be there. She'll talk to people. And have you heard of Third Eye Champagne?
I haven't.
Kirsten Langston.
The name sounds familiar. Maybe I
She's
haven't.
funny. She's the one that introduced me to YouTube. She's the one that did it, and I didn't want to do it. That's why I told those guys when they said, you're going to do YouTube, I said, I don't want, because she had the lights, she put the makeup, and I said, hell no. And so she still has her YouTube channel, but she's coming, and there's a lot of people coming to Benicia that are coming because of her, because she rarely makes appearances.
Where's Benicia?
Benicia was the first capital of California. And it's in a very pretty area. Where Angel Heart for You building that I worked, that was used to be a hostel. The post office the guys on the horses used to stop off there. Anyway, it's 2 stories. On the second story is where the madams used to live, the hookers. And Jack London wrote a couple of his books there. And one of the madams dropped her iron on the floor and they left it on there. There's a little like burnt spot of an iron on the floor. But, and Jack London is there. So sometimes, like I was reading a friend of mine whose daughter died in a tragic accident. And she came through and it was such a profound event that she brought her husband down. And her husband's an ER attending and, very succumbed, he's sitting there with his arms crossed, legs crossed. And her daughter came through and I looked and I said, oh, I don't think he believes me. I don't think and she pulled the curtain behind me that was up near the ceiling, yanked it off. It's never happened since, yanked it off and threw it. And my friend was sitting there and she looked at her husband and said, now do you believe her? But that little building, has one time the woman rented the room that the madame stayed in, and she had a little facial place. And she said she left out of there, locked the door, and heard the radio playing. She thought, I could have swore I turned that off. She went back in and went to where the radio was, and it was playing, but it was unplugged. And she said, I'm out of here.
Do you ever see what people may call elementals, like fairies, pixies, or even Bigfoot?
I've never seen it. Not that I don't believe it, but I've never seen it. God, I watch those Bigfoot stories. Scares me to death. I don't want no Bigfoot.
And you're up there near Bigfoot country.
Yeah, but I'm just too scared. I don't want to know Bigfoot. I wouldn't mind seeing fairies or stuff, but I've been to Ireland. I can see why they're there, but I don't mess with that stuff.
I had a near-death experiencer once. He crashed his bike and was knocked unconscious, had his NDE, and then right when he came back to his body, he was laying on the ground and saw fairies.
They were all around him?
My guess, or something, or just there.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
When you imagine a fairy, is that what it looked like?
Yeah, kind of what you would think
Yeah.
of. A little being. Maybe they're pretty small, winged.
There's a ghost show that used to be on, a ghost hunting show, and they were in the UK, in Ireland, and they had those things that would only pick up heat signature. And there was three small, tiny humans walking back to back. And I mean, that had to be little, whatever you call them, elementals or something, but they had them on the thing. So that's proof something was out there.
Have you ever seen anything in the future involving ETs or UFOs? Like maybe they're finally going to land on the planet and we'll have
Oh yeah,
disclosure?
finally they're living here. What are you talking, my friend? They're living here. They're in the ocean. They're in the mountains. They are here. They've told that man that I talked to, or the ET that I talked to, told me that they're here and they keep a close eye on us. You know, it's very sad for a lot of things they say, they see, especially the way we treat our earth, but they are here, and you know, we try to kill them, we shoot at them, so they're cautious, but they do talk. There's a lot of people, I don't know if you've had people on your show that are in communication, like Blood Shoe.
Yeah, I've had him actually.
Oh, you had him? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
He's also had an NDE as well.
Yeah, I love him. I saw him on what is that, Skywalker Ranch,
Okay.
and he can just make it happen. He calls for them.
Well, I think that UFOs or the orbs or the plasma beings that he sees, he considers them to be angels.
Oh, okay. Well, when he was talking about that wind thing, that wasn't a UFO thing. That was like a Mother Mary thing.
Hmm. Yeah,
That's why I was be curious to if I could write him or something and just ask him. So I was giving my life over, my whole life, with no fear. I told him if I need to die, I'll die. I know all this is for a reason. So if you need to take me, and I'm sorry for even being fearful about this. And in that moment, something happened to me, something great, because that's when that wind went through my body and I heard thy will be done. And it was like a huge gust went right. And he talked about that.
maybe you can get him to, be at one of your events. Like he could speak during one day and then in the evening you guys can all go out. He could call
Go
in
out.
the
Yes.
UFOs.
I might hook up another Sedona event.
That would
and
be
do
cool.
that. I'm scared about Sky. I would not want to go to that Skywalker. I would not want to be
Skywalker
there than the
Ranch.
man on the moon. I don't want all that energy there. You know, I went to what is that place up in Colorado where Stephen King had that experience?
I'm not aware
It's
of
a
that place.
hotel up there. I went up there for an event, a ghost event, and I couldn't sleep. The energy was just going through me left and right. I didn't want them talking to me anymore. And also the Queen Mary is really, oh my gosh. We come out of my room, me and my girlfriend, and a guy said, well, you guys just, that's your room? And we said, yeah. He said, I had that the last time. And as I was locking the door when I was coming out, I heard all this crashing. I opened the door up and the room was totally tore up. So yeah, I as much as I wouldn't mind if angels came to me, but I don't want no poltergeist. I don't need that.
Yeah, me either. Well, you have a very big audience on YouTube.
Thank you.
Can you share with us something about you that you normally don't talk about yourself?
Well, I never say how much I weigh. Hell no.
Well, we don't. Yeah, no. And I would never ask that question.
Something I would never, well, I got like 100. Well, how much do I got? Like 132, 133,000. I'm so honored, by the way. And these people are wonderful people. These guys are so cool. Is there something that people wouldn't know? See, I laid my book. My book says everything. You know, it was embarrassing to talk about a father who beat you.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't something I was proud about.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, when I do shows, especially my lives, lots of times I'll tell little stories. about myself. So they get a pretty good handle about me. Back in my drinking days, my dance card was full, but I've been married 3 times, and let me tell you something. I will destroy a man that looks at me cross-eyed. I wasn't a very nice, dainty little woman. I come off all sweet, and then it's like, is that your heart? So I had a temper like my dad, an Irish temper, but who I am now compared to what I was before. But everybody always asks, like, you're, oh, Linda, you got to, and my friend Annette, oh, you got a relationship. I could care, and I don't know how to tell people. People think that to be whole in this world, you have to be in a relationship.
Yeah.
And it's like, nope, been there, done that, bought the t-shirt. I have never been more content in my life not having a relationship. It's not that I don't care about people. I just can't give, I'm so busy too. I can't give that kind of time to somebody else.
Well, I think Annette told me while she was on your show, she said, I don't know how you guys got on the subject, but someone asked, is the U.S. going to attack Iran? And she said, yeah, tomorrow. And it literally
And it
was,
happened?
yeah. And it was literally the day before when she said that.
Oh, that's the other one too. I want to tell you, Iran has got some stuff up their sleeve. I see more like behind closed doors terrorist action taking place.
In this
But
country?
I see people hitting, Iran might hit Israel pretty hard, but they want our president gone. They want to cause some chaos, and they're working behind closed doors. They're working behind closed doors.
Do you think that there will be terrorist events here in our country?
Yeah, I saw. In fact, I just saw something, a show that talked about in the UK. Remember those terrible bombs that went off in the UK on those trains?
Kind of.
Maybe 15 years ago. I see something like that, some sort of people blowing themselves up in order to create chaos.
Do you have a timeline for this?
No, that's the hard part. I'll see stuff and then it doesn't happen right away, but it'll happen a little later. People will write me and say, oh, like with the royal family, I saw stuff and they said, oh my God, Linda, this happened.
So since you're able to see the future, does that mean that the future is going to happen, like there's no free will?
There is free will, absolutely. But I see a future happening, and I'm going to tell you that it's not love or sunshine lollipops, because humans love to create resistance. This has been going on for centuries. And I think when the ETs are down here, which they already are, and really get more entwined with us, is when we can stop being so fight or flight.
Yeah.
But we like to create people hate each other because of the color of their skin or their religion. All that is nonsense.
I almost think that we need the ETs to save us from ourselves.
They're waiting. I can see them patiently waiting. And it's like, we'll come when it's time. So it'll come up.
What about AI? Have you seen anything involving that?
I not that Grok, whatever.
Now Grok
whatever
4
that's
is out.
called. Huh?
That's Elon Musk's AI, and now he just released Grok 4.
I don't see it taking off for him. People don't trust him anymore. He blew that. But the other one,
ChatGPT.
and they also are saying that a lot of these things that are up right now can diagnose patients better than doctors can. So they'll be using it for some good stuff.
Yeah, I could see that. Linda, before we wrap it up, can you leave us with a last positive message?
A last positive message. Always wear clean underwear.
Well, that's understood.
My mom used to say, always wear clean underwear in case you get hit by a car. And sure enough, I got hit by a car when I was 8 years old. No, what is the last message? Last message. We love you. I just heard that. Love is the elixir. Love is the identity for man. And we want love more than anything else. A lot of our pains and suffering psychologically, physically, is due to lack of or some sort of corrupted love. You know, isn't it something parents don't realize, that how hard they hurt their child, that, you know, they never are quite better? Then you get people who had what you would think was a perfectly good life. Oh, someone told me that I talked about, there was 4 students that got killed in Idaho. Before they even caught the guy, I said, it's a guy, he's stalking them, and he was mad at a woman in the group because she reneged him or treated him badly. But his family life wasn't really terrible. It's just he had this viciousness. He's the one that just said he wanted life in prison because he was fearing the death penalty.
Maybe he had a crazy...
But I predicted who he was, just like I predicted the little girl that got killed up in Wyoming, that her boyfriend would end up, you know, Harry Carey. And that's what happened. He ended up, they found his body, but it was his skull, and they could see that he had committed Harry Carey.
Well, Linda, thank you for your message, and
Thank you, Jeff,
for being my guest today.
That was so much fun. I'll let my people know.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching the JeffMara podcast. I really appreciate you. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. And if you do, there are loyalty badges and other perks depending on your level of membership. All you need to do is click the join button underneath the video to find out more. Thank you for your support.